So last night's episodes 1 to 3 of Legends of Vox Machina Season 2, the Critical Role anime dropped. And I gotta say, as a Critical Role fan, I'm beyond hyped, man. That's right, in today's video, we're gonna be finding every single Easter egg and reference I can in Legend of Vox Machina episodes 1 to 3 of Season 2. Remember, Legend of Vox Machina is an animated show based off of Critical Role Campaign 1. So there's gonna be a ton of references and Easter eggs hidden specifically for the hardcore Critical Role and Dungeons & Dragons fan, as well as a bunch of other memes and inside jokes, so strap yourselves in. As always, if you enjoyed the video, learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out some of our other Critical Role and Legend of Vox Machina content, as well. If I missed an Easter egg or reference, please let me know in the comments down below. There's so many, and so many of these are pretty well hidden, so we're bound to miss at least one. So we begin where we left off at the end of Season 1. Sovereign Uriel is about to abdicate the throne of Iman when suddenly the city is attacked by a fleet, a conclave of chromatic dragons. Now, episode 1 of Legend of Vox Machina is based off of Critical Role Campaign 1, episodes 39 to 42. We can see here behind Uriel a very dice-like structure. This structure is what we saw in Season 1 of Legend of Vox Machina numerous times. As Uriel is speaking, Vex's primeval awareness kicks in, a ranger ability in Dungeons & Dragons that allows her to sense her favorite enemy, in this case, chromatic dragons. We have our big, scary dragons finally in animated form. The white dragon, Riegel, which breathes ice and has frosty powers. The green dragon, Riegel, a rather crafty, conniving female dragon who has powers over poison. Umbrasil, the black dragon, who has acid breath and who's just overall not a very nice dragon. And finally, the big chunky boy himself, the king of all dragons, Thordak, the Cinder King, and you can see a certain gem that is lodged into the great dragon's chest, a gem that will certainly come into play later on in our season, so we're just gonna leave it at that for now. Chaos breaks loose as suddenly Iman is being absolutely destroyed, shred into pieces. This tower falls here, which I can only imagine is Alora's tower. The Arcanist Alora, who we do see cast a few spells to protect the bystanders around. This is either Odaluk's Resilient Sphere or potentially Shield. As well, she attempts to cast Lightning Lure on one of the dragons, or what a spell that I believe is Lightning Lure. We see Lady Kima of Vord as well cast a spell. This is most likely Divine Smite or some other Paladin-esque spell, if I had to guess. Throughout all of the calamity and destruction going on, Vax sees a vision of a strange woman in a mask. This is a bit of Giga foreshadowing that we're going to get for some episodes later on, to the Raven Queen, a certain god of death. We have another reoccurring character that we see throughout Legend of Vox Machina. This is Matt Mercer as the cart character. Matt Mercer is the DM and one of the lead designers and creators of the story behind Critical Role, as well as just being an absolutely a gem of a human being, an amazing voice actor. The animation studio that created Legend of Vox Machina that was hired to animate was Titmouse. Titmouse is known for having these kind of re-emerging, reoccurring characters like we saw in Avatar: The Last Airbender and Cabbage Man. This is basically their take on that. Matt Mercer here. Grog says his catchphrase, "It's time to rage." We get another door meme here at about 8 minutes in of episode 1. If you don't know, Critical Role and Legend of Vox Machina love to include lots of jokes about doors, as Vox Machina in Critical Role Campaign 1 greatly struggled with the use of doors throughout their campaign, making for a reoccurring joke. As the party loot Gilmore's shop, as everything is going to absolute shit, we see a few magical items. One, the Belt of Dwarven Kind, which we'll see reoccur later. A little box here, which I can only imagine is the Deck of Many Themes, one of the most craziest items in Dungeons & Dragons, an item that has the potential to absolutely break your game, and an item we know that Grog Strongjaw receives in a Critical Role Campaign 1. As well, we see a certain broom that was teased as well in Legend of Vox Machina Season 1. This is Vex's flying broom, which it doesn't seem like she's going to actually wield at all in Legend of Vox Machina, as well as an unknown potion. I can only guess this is a potion of invisibility, but I'm actually not sure. Let me know in the comments down below if you know what this is. We are transported inside of Vox Machina's castle on the outskirts of Iman. We see behind them here a strange tapestry, one that seems to feature Grog and some woman that has her arms around his neck. As well, we see a dark horse in the background behind them. Now, I'm not exactly sure what this is. I think this is a depiction of Grog with a certain nymph, a scene that occurred in Critical Role Campaign 1 before it was streamed. I'm not 100% sure. The Dark Horse behind it could possibly be a reference to Dark Horse Comics, the comic book printing company that does all of the Critical Role comics. I'm not exactly sure what exactly this is. Let me know in the comments down below, but I think we're on the right track here. Scanlan makes a Marquette reference, which is a region, a desert region in Critical Role, another continent, one that Scanlan will eventually go and visit in his arc known as the Meat Man. In their small fight with Vorigol the White Dragon, we see that Vorigol has the ability to see through illusions. It's not sure if this was meant to be the ability True Sight in Dungeons & Dragons, as dragons generally don't have access to True Sight, or if this was just the dragon being able to see through the illusion. We're not exactly sure. It's one or the other. As the group used keyless transport via plants to teleport to Whitestone, we see a strange little girl who's one of the refugees that survives, who gives Grog an odd look. Now, this little girl is very important. If you don't want spoilers for Legend of Vox Machina Season 2, then skip ahead to the time stamp listed on screen. But this little girl is most likely the green dragon Raishan. We can tell from her green eyes and this very death glare that she gives Grog. We know that Raishan, like many other dragons, has the ability to transform into humans, and that she is a master of subterfuge and spying, as we know that she does sneak in to Whitestone as a human later on in Critical Role. So this is most likely Raishan the Green Dragon, and we get all of that literally because her eyes are green. Next, we're off to Season 2, Episode 2 of Legend of Vox Machina. This is based off of Critical Role Campaign 1, Episode 43, where the party journey to Vasselheim. We hear a number of D&D gods that are referenced, but they use different names in the Critical Role universe to avoid copyright with Wizards of the Coast. These gods are as followed: Kord, Bahamut, Arathis, the Raven Queen, and Sarenrae. There's several others as well, but I believe these are the only ones that are mentioned here on Critical Role. As well, while in Vasselheim, we see another Matt Mercer reappearance, as he is the guard that is the gate guard to enter Vasselheim. We are introduced to a group known as the Slayer's Take. Now, this is interesting because the Slayer's Take was a mini-arc that happened in Campaign 1 pretty early on, in events that would have happened around Season 1 of Legend of Vox Machina, but they've decided to shoehorn it here, and they've decided to introduce these characters known as Cash and Zara, two characters that were originally guest characters on Critical Role back in this Slayer's Take mini arc, two characters that the whole entire cast's characters are familiar with, but in the Legend of Vox Machina show, they decided to only make them familiar with the twins, Vex and Vax. This is just a small kind of narrative change that they had to do, as they obviously couldn't put the first Slayer's Take mini arc into the animated series, as there's just only so many episodes. So here we have a little bit of a reshuffling of events, which Critical Role has to do for Legend of Vox Machina in some kind of way. Once we're in the Slayer's Take, we see a number of D&D monsters. We see what I believe to be a Cyclops, a werewolf, a griffin, possibly a basilisk, an onkeg, a flagra, and several others, which I'm not exactly sure. Let me know in the comments down below. While speaking with Osissa the Sphinx, that is the patron of the Slayer's Take, we see Vax pull out his Flaying Tongue Dagger, one of his mini daggers that he wields. Some legendary items are referenced by this Sphinx: the vestiges of the Divergence, weapons of the Calamity forged by gods and wielded by champions of said gods to defeat the Betrayer gods, basically evil gods from this time in the Critical Role universe. If you want to learn more about the Calamity, click the eye above, as well as you want to learn more about all of the vestiges of the Divergence, their lore, as well as some of their mechanics in D&D, as well. Click the eye above to get that video. Before the episode ends, we are introduced to a very special character, Victor the Black Powder Merchant, a very side kooky character, which Matt actually cosplayed as at one of the episodes, I believe the Halloween episodes of Critical Role. This character is absolutely beloved by the fan base, as this is one of Percy's black powder dealers, so he can fire his gun. As well, we see a boar's head on the wall of his shop, which is reference to Percy buying a boar's head, a hog's head worth of black powder in the campaign when he comes to visit him. Next, Season 2, Episode 3 of Legend of Vox Machina, based on Episode 44 of Critical Role Campaign 1, The Sunken Tomb. Spike uses a scry spell to spy on Thordak as she witnesses the Great Dragon burn many of the citizens of Amon alive. The party journey to a lake that is frozen over the temple of the Raven Queen, where the Deathwalkers ward, a vestige of the Divergence, rests beneath this frozen ice, where there are a group of fishmen that are living. These fishmen are known as Kuatoa in D&D, but they obviously call them something else to avoid Wizards IP. We learn that the champion of the Raven Queen is named Pervon Sewell, a name that was very much memed by the Critical Role cast, as well as much of the fan base when it was introduced. There's an ongoing joke in Critical Role where much of the cast and the fan base make fun of Matt Mercer for many of the names of NPCs and characters that he comes up with. In this episode, Grog puts on the Belt of Dwarven Kind, growing a beard. This is special because Goliaths are traditionally hairless. They cannot grow hair, so this allows Grog's character to basically magically grow hair, and Travis always wanted Grog to have a beard. We get some more door memes as the cast enter into the tomb of Pervon Sewell in the Temple of the Raven Queen. Kashaw uses a spell here, one that I can only imagine is either find the path or potentially locate object, though it's funny because it leads them to the wrong direction, as ultimately it is our party who does find the Deathwalkers ward, as Percy gets a little too ahead of himself, touching the armor, which unleashes a spell of necromantic death energy. Remember that the Raven Queen is the god of death, which instantly kills Vex. One of the most dramatic, heartbreaking scenes directly from Critical Role Campaign 1. And yeah, this was basically all of the Easter eggs in broad references I could find in the first 3 episodes of Legends of Vox Machina. Remember that these episodes are basically taken almost verbatim in many instances from the campaigns of Critical Role Campaign 1. Obviously, some dialogue is changed for brevity, as these episodes are 30 minutes long, while Critical Role Campaign episodes are anywhere from 3 to 4 episodes long. That being said, though, it is surprising just how much detail and how much direct dialogue was taken from Critical Role Campaign 1, which just goes to show you how absolutely amazing a lot of this off-the-cuff improv acting that was done in Critical Role Campaign was. Let me know in the comments down below some Easter eggs and references that I missed. I got as many as I could, as well as a few that I wasn't too sure about, like we said, that Grog tapestry that we saw in Vox Machina's Keep. Very curious to see what exactly that is. I'm pretty sure that the horse there is a reference to Dark Horse Comics. Expect these videos weekly as we get more episodes of Legend of Vox Machina, as well as expect upcoming complete episode breakdowns for these episodes of Legend of Vox Machina. And as always, guys, I hope to see you in the next one. Really excited to get this show. Some of the scenes were absolutely amazing. And some breathtaking works of animation. Titmouse has really outdone themselves this time. Until next time, guys, stay safe out there. I hope to see you in the next one. Peace, love, Audu.
It was like 05, got my license to drive. Picked you up in my pop's car, went for a ride. Couldn't no one tell us nothing. That night was ours. All the stars aligned and you were so damn fine. Yeah, it was young love. Young hearts were so pure. We trust love is so hard to endure. A few years passed, made the move out.